Our weather pattern for this summer is about to change in a very big way. Heat is about to come back big time, everybody, all the way from the south all the way towards the north. Now you can see right now we're in that transition of the cooler air coming through with that cold front. It is bringing a lot of thunderstorms and severe weather still for today, also for tomorrow. And we have what's happening down here with Bertha. Bertha is still the same. They had aircraft reconnaissance go in there, showing that it could be a little bit stronger than forecasted, but the impacts and the intensity has still stayed the same. Now you can see how erratically Bertha has been, and right now it is moving northwest at 2 miles per hour, maximum sustained winds at 51 miles per hour, showing that it will go all the way towards 52, all the way towards 58, even a chance for some hurricane force wind gusts right here in the middle of the Gulf, everybody. But still, the shear is going to hit it and it's going to be lopsided. And you see how it's making more of that southerly turn. So now you have your tropical storm warnings out for the Florida Panhandle, Alabama, Mississippi, around Louisiana. And you have tropical storm watches going out towards the West Bank. But this is where everything has shifted a little bit. You can see this with the winds. Now, right now, we're getting onshore storm surge over here for Florida. Even some winds are kicking in. While you're getting offshore winds coming over here for Alabama, maybe even Mississippi, which will turn into onshore later. But still, the impacts are minimum, everybody. You can see the tropical storm wind field of sustained winds of 39 miles per hour all the way towards 73 has changed as well. You might see it over here around Lafourche Parish, but mostly over here, still showing around the West Bank is where it's going to skim by, still bring you a small chance for a tornado threat and bring you some onshore storm surge. But then it's going to weaken down towards a tropical depression as it goes towards Texas. Not really bringing a big threat towards there neither. So the forecast is still showing 100% correct, everybody. But what's coming right around the corner is about to get very hot. Now, to keep you updated as we go through the rest of this week, all the way towards Thursday, maybe even some of Friday, this is where our weather pattern is going to change. This is where that cold front coming through is going to start leaving out through New England, and the heat's going to start coming through as we go through next week as well. This is going to build. Now, first, the latest tropical update. You can see chances for sustained winds of tropical storm force. You're still at that 20 to 30% chance right there along the Gulf Coast. A little bit stronger over here towards southeastern Louisiana around the boot, but still is going to be the same impacts as forecasted and what I just showed you. And you can see how it weakens down as it goes further towards the west. Your storm surge is still the same as I told you yesterday. None of that has changed, including the rainfall amounts for the rest of Bertha's span as it goes through the Gulf. It has raised a little bit more towards that 1 to 2 inches of Louisiana going towards Texas, and a little bit more of that 2 to 4 inches right there in the green. But you see the yellow is nowhere in sight. Also over here for Alabama towards Mobile, showing a little bit heavier rainfall for you. So be aware of the storm surge in these places as well. Latest track guidance is showing the same thing. In 24 hours, it's going to start making that turn. In 48 hours, it's going to start skimming along the coast of Louisiana. And somewhere around 72 hours is where the remnants is going to start going towards Texas. Just bringing some rainfall. Nothing super huge. And you can see the only intensity expected. That's where we go around Wednesday. This is where it's going to start downgrading. And then when it goes towards Texas, it will be a tropical depression. Just the remnants. Now, still showing right after this for hurricane season. We're about to go into that break, but the latest update shows instead of this break lasting all the way through August, that we could have a little bit more activity towards the middle of August. The same pattern that we need to watch out for. Something that could be front induced, something around the Gulf or the East Coast. But don't worry about that, everybody. I have all that under control. Just like I warned you about this one way ahead of time, I will warn you of the next one way ahead of time. Now let's go through the severe weather before I get through your weather pattern of what is coming right around the corner. Yesterday we had 7 tornado reports. We also had some wind gusts and wind damage as well. Now for today we have the severe weather and our chances for tornadoes. We have the 2% in the green and the 5% in the brown. So far, here's your cities and states at risk for a tornado threat for today. Also the wind threat, where it's stronger winds over here in this 30% and especially this 45%, this pink area. So here's your cities and states at risk for the damage and wind threat for today, and the hail threat as well. It's a little bit downgraded from the winds, but you still have that threat. Here's your cities and states at risk for the hail threat for today. Showing once we go through later this morning, really around noontime, is where our storms are going to kick off over here for Ohio, going towards Pennsylvania and New York. And you do have a cluster that's moving across for eastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, through New York as well. Not really a big threat with that. The big threat is going to be this damaging wind event that comes right behind it as it extends all the way towards southern Indiana later on. And by the time I go through the evening, this is where your tornado threat comes into fruition, so be aware of that. Also for tomorrow, it'll be right along the coast of North Carolina and Virginia. So as these storms come through later this evening, bringing a damaging wind threat, you cannot rule out an embedded cell in there, all the way towards Kentucky, all the way towards the northeast by the time you go through 7 p.m. Bringing strong winds, but also that tornado threat, everybody. And remember, the hail threat is on the low end. Now, once you go through later tonight, this is where it's going to train from Virginia across the Delmarva, even southern Jersey, and it's going to stay that way for tomorrow as well. So you need to watch out for the chances for the flooding. And for tomorrow, that's going to build up over here towards Virginia, the Delmarva, a little bit of North Carolina as well. And that's where you have your tornado threat for tomorrow also. And you can see with Bertha going around, it's going to bring the onshore flooding for today, but also the winds that's going to be on shore over here for Florida. It's going to be offshore for Mississippi and Alabama. As you go through later on this evening, it's going to change. It's going to be onshore for Alabama while it goes offshore for Louisiana and Mississippi. Then as it moves overnight across Mississippi and Louisiana, this is where it weakens down greatly. I don't even think you would even notice much of a difference that an actual tropical storm is out there in the Gulf, except over here along the Gulf. First for the Lafourche Parish, then it goes down along the West Bank. Could bring you a small tornado threat. But you see how that falls apart shortly afterwards, everybody. Now remember, if you see this model, this is rapid refreshes, a high resolution model. This is not the forecast. It's not even a tropical model. So if you see this model showing you this is going to intensify today and be stronger than forecasted as it goes towards Texas, like they have some kind of secret information that nobody else knows. Do not believe them. That's full of hype and lies. That is not a tropical model. That is not one you definitely want to use for forecasts. In fact, anyone that shows you this as a forecast, I would run away from now on. Because you can even see with the GFS, it is on board and that's going to stay weak as it moves towards the west. Do not believe those high resolution models, everybody. So for tomorrow, for Wednesday, this is where you have the marginal going towards New England, but you have a slight risk. This is where you have that tornado threat that I just showed you. So here's your cities and states at risk for a tornado threat for tomorrow, for Wednesday. Also the wind threat for tomorrow. We have the 5% and we have the 15% slight risk. So here's your cities and states at risk for high winds for tomorrow. Showing with the onshore winds for today, we're going to get anywhere from that 50 miles per hour wind gusts all the way from the Florida Panhandle and westward. You can see over here for Louisiana as well, then it weakens down. But all the way from Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, towards the northeast, this is where you have 40 miles per hour wind gusts in the green. You have 50 in the orange, 60 in the red, and 70 in the brown. I see a lot of 70s in there. So be aware of the very high winds for today. Now, quick update on these temperatures coming around the corner. Remember, we're in that positive PNA. This is where the heat is staying towards the west. We have that cool front coming through for the Great Lakes towards the northeast. That's showing true. We've seen that this morning as well. But remember, once we go towards the 23rd all the way towards the 27th, this is where that weather pattern changes. This is where the heat moves across the central U.S., tries to go across the eastern U.S., but I'm still showing we have a storm system coming through towards New England at the inner part of that. So the heat more likely will not last all the way towards the East Coast, but it is going to be on the move, especially as we go through this period, the end of this week into next week. And you can see this on the latest information. So as we get in that heat dome building, we're getting that trough of cooler air coming through as we go through the rest of this week. But once we go towards Friday into the weekend, you see how this builds more towards the west. This is going to go further west, remember, and then it's going to come across the central U.S. Look at this. Saturday into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, it starts building. Then as we go through next Wednesday, this is where we have that trough of cooler air from the storm system coming through that should block this heat from going any further towards the east so far. But that heat is still going to sit there and build as we go through the beginning of August as well. So we still could have this big front coming through from a strong storm system. This is still past 10 days. I will keep you updated. Because me, for one, going past 10 days talking about a strong storm coming through usually does not happen, but still, I will keep you updated. Now, pay attention. These are the temperatures you can expect, everybody, for today. For your highs, you're going to sit over 100 to over 105 degrees over here for the south, and you have the 90s all the way towards the west and still 100 and 110 degrees. Now, remember, our heat index value is going to be really bad as we go through this transition. So you're going to feel like over 110, maybe even towards 115 degree temperatures for today across the south. Now, overnight, you're going to get some relief. You're going to get those 50s coming through, even the 60s. Now, for tomorrow, you can see the cooler temperatures across the Great Lakes and the Northeast in the 60s, even the 70s, going all the way towards Ohio Valley. But now we have the 100 degrees going all the way towards Northwest with a lot of 90s as well, but very strong heat across the west. While you're over here from 100 to over 110 degrees for the south and the 90s across the southeast. And once again, with your heat index value for tomorrow, you're going to feel anywhere from 115 towards 120 degrees possible, everybody. Please make sure you hydrate. Now, as you go overnight tomorrow into Thursday, this is where the 60s start coming through. It's going to be a nice cool down. But remember, the heat's going to come right back again for Thursday. Over here where your front is, you're going to stay in the 70s, but you're going to be in the 90s all the way towards the north into Canada with the high 80s as well. The 100s and the 90s still going towards the west, 110, 115 degrees plus for the southwest, and over 100 to 105 degrees for the south. Now, with our heat index value, this is going to stretch across Louisiana and Mississippi, where it feels like temperatures over 105 towards 110 degrees. Once again, for Friday morning, you see this going across Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, out through the Northeast, even reaching all the way towards Tennessee, Kentucky Valley with this cold front, but it is going to warm right back up. Again, you will stay in those 70s, but for everyone else, 90s all the way towards the north, 100s all the way towards the west, 110, 115, and for the south. And again, with your heat index value, you're going to feel very muggy all the way towards Friday. And then when you wake up for Saturday, here it is with those 60s, again, even high 50s. But this is where it's on the move. This is where you're going by the 25th. Remember this, everybody. This is where your heat is going further towards the north. Now 105 degrees plus temperatures is coming right back towards the upper Midwest. The 90s are reaching all the way into Canada, and you still very strong heat all the way towards the west, the southwest, and the deep south. Now, with our heat index value, this is where you're going to feel muggy all over again as we go through for Saturday. So please be aware of this weather pattern. It's going to stay for quite some time. As you go through Sunday, this is building. Now your temperatures, remember, taking in the shade, anywhere from 100 to 105 degrees or more, all the way from Texas, all the way towards North Dakota, all the way towards the southwest. And look at your heat index value as you go through for this Sunday. Feeling more like 100 to 110 degrees plus all the way into this region. This is a lot of heat that's coming, everybody. As you go through Monday, this is the 27th. This is next Monday. It's going to be there with our temperatures again and our heat indices. This is building. Now you're going towards 110 to 115 feels like temperatures. Please be aware of this heat, everybody. It will be on the move as we go towards the end of this week into next week. And you can see next Tuesday, I'm going to stop here. This is going 8 days. You can see the temperatures coming. You can see the strong heat index value coming as well. Please prepare for this heat, everybody. And that is your latest weather forecast of what is coming right around the corner, everybody. So make sure you heed my warnings. Take this information. Let other people know what is going on. There's going to be a lot of strong heat coming across as we go past this weekend and especially into next week. But that is your latest update. So thank you for your time. Hope you have a very blessed day today, everybody. I don't see much changes in Bertha or the severe weather or this heat pattern anytime soon. So I don't think an afternoon update is warranted. If anything changes with Bertha, which I don't think it will, I will update you again this afternoon. If you do not see me, remember, nothing changed. And before I go, a quick word from our Father. Everybody, remember, above all things, hold on to your integrity, everybody. I've seen a lot of people just go crazy with the forecast. Mainly, it looked like just trying to do a view grab. You need to watch out for who's calling himself honest and accurate. I've seen a lot of misinformation from these people as Bertha came along. And I think you will see more as the coming days come along as well. If views go down, the lies go up. Remember, everybody, hold true to what is honest. A quick word from our Father, 2 Corinthians 8:21. Providing for honest things, not only in the sight of the Lord, but also in the sight of men. Amen. Remember, hold on to your integrity. Hold on to those that are honest and accurate all year, not just at certain times. I will stay honest and accurate for you all year. Make sure you subscribe, follow along for updates. You will hear about the coming weather pattern here first, just like before. Remember, above all things, everybody, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope He keeps you safe every single day of your life. You and everyone that is around you. And forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you again for tomorrow morning, God willing.